I feel like I am a birthing goddess. Giving birth is my superpower, and yeah, I did it 3 times and I'm good. I don't need to do it again.
I do it for the love and I do it for the likes.
It's been a while. Sorry, my booty cheek itches. Hey guys, it's Taasha Reneé here and welcome back to my channel. It's been a while since I've actually sat down and recorded a video, like a sit down video. If you have been following my most recent posts, you would see that I was pregnant with my 3rd child and I am no longer with child. I had my baby a couple of weeks ago, and in this video I just wanted to sit down and basically share my birth story as well as take down my hair. My hair is starting to look crazy, so I'm just like, you know what, Tasha, let's take these things out. So I guess we're just gonna get started, right? Because I don't know how long the story gonna take. It's probably not going to be a long story because my birth wasn't even long at all. If you are new to this channel, welcome. My name is Taasha Reneé. I am a mom of 3 now, and I basically just share content on motherhood, parenting, self-care, all that jazz. With that being said, my birth story, completely different than the first 2 experiences that I've had.
Why are you so calm? The baby.
Stop crying.
Mommy.
Yes.
I just had a freaking baby on my bed. Where are they? Where are they? Somebody. I don't know what to do.
You have a daughter, bro.
Is it a girl for real?
Yes.
Oh, holy shit. Thank you for working.
I want to start off by basically saying that I think that this was honestly the best birthing experience I've ever had, ever. And I guess it's because I had more experience, of course, and I knew what to expect. But I just think it's because like how much intention was put behind the birth. I have been going to get acupuncture treatments for about 3 years now. I've had a lot of people with like misconceptions that tell me that like acupuncture helps to induce labor. But also it really all depends on what the acupuncturist is doing and what points they're using to, like, what's the reason why you're doing it. Now, towards the end of my pregnancy, I knew that I was going to get acupuncture at some point to stimulate labor, but I just was waiting for the right moment. And I was also going to the chiropractor. So basically my lifestyle during my pregnancy looked like going to acupuncture one day, going to the chiropractor twice a week. I got to 40 weeks and baby was still chilling. I think I went to the birth center and I went to check to see if I was dilated or anything. And I think at 40 weeks, I was literally just like nothing. Like she basically said nothing was happening.
You're not open all the way. So this is the end of the tube is starting to open, but at the internal is still closed.
I had my baby at 41 weeks and 3 days. It was probably 41 weeks and 2 days or 41 weeks and 3 days. Honestly, I'm not even sure. I don't remember at this point. The day before I went to get acupuncture, that day for my acupuncture appointment, the intention was to stimulate labor. Just got to acupuncture. They're going to do some stimulation on my legs so I can try to get this baby out. Hopefully today, tomorrow, sometime soon. The massage therapist, because usually I get a massage before I get the acupuncture. So the massage therapist, she basically said that she was only going to focus on my legs with the intention to start labor. So she was doing from like my thighs down. And when I tell you, that was like the most painful massage I've ever had. I was like, what in the world is this? And she basically said like, yeah, this is going to start your labor. And so said, so done. The acupuncturist came in and she did my treatment with electrical stimulation. So she mostly put the needles like on my leg. She had some on my neck, on my hand, on my head. And she was using electrical stimulation. And while she was doing the electrical stimulation, I started to feel like some contractions happening while I was there. So after I came home from my appointment, I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna go for a 2-mile walk. I took my mom with me, and it's like as soon as I came back home, I went to the bathroom and my mucus plug was coming out. So this was probably like around 5:00 p.m. And like I said, this was the day before I went into labor. Come around the evening time, I went to bed at like 9 o'clock at night. And when I went to bed, I wasn't in pain or anything. I was just feeling like some Braxton Hicks or some tightening from like my groins, just because I knew that I went for a walk, and then my legs were also sore because of the massage that I had earlier. So I just told myself, like, you know what, you don't need to be staying up late at night, just go to bed. So around 9 o'clock I went to sleep. While I was sleeping, I feel like I was sleeping fairly okay. Like I was probably having contractions, but it wasn't anything to be like, oh, like labor is about to start. Like I didn't have that feeling at all. I was just sleeping. It was like after midnight, about 12:30 in the morning, then I started to feel like, oh no, something is about to start, because I feel like I'm starting to get more contractions more consistently. So I told myself, I was like, you know what, when 1 o'clock hits, I'm gonna start timing my contractions. So 1 o'clock came, I opened my phone and I started to do my normal thing that I do when labor comes, like counting contractions with my contraction timer. So the kids were sleeping in the bed next to me. Eddie was still in the bed, and I'm just laying in the bed, basically kind of like breathing a little bit, just going through the motions of counting the contractions that I had at 1 o'clock. Probably like 2 times in between that, I got up to go to the bathroom. And I think at that point, Eddie started to like turn on the camera, because he saw me with like my phone and just hearing me like breathe and stuff. So he kind of like felt like something was going on, because he just started to record me. And I told myself that I was just gonna go in the bathroom to probably wait it out to see what was happening, because I didn't want to keep getting up to go back and forth to the bathroom. I'm just gonna stay in the bathroom this time. So I took the yoga ball, took my cup of water, and I went to the bathroom, and I just stayed in there for a little bit by myself to try to like go through some of the contractions to see if like this was game time. I didn't want to alert anybody or say anything when this could have probably been falls. Which really and truly, I don't know why it would have been falls, because I just did so much to my body like the day before. Eddie decided to come out of the bed, and he came into the bathroom with me, and he saw that I was in there counting contractions. I tried to mark everything to the T. So I knew that I went into the bathroom at about 1 o'clock, and I was counting contractions for an hour. I told myself and I told Eddie, when 2 o'clock hits, I'm gonna go in the shower and I'm gonna start counting contractions from 2 to 3. So I did exactly that. And I was actually just like rejoicing and just like in bliss, because I was like, this couldn't happen at a more perfect time, because it's 1 o'clock in the morning. I can be in here like in peace, in quiet, while the kids are sleeping. I don't have to worry about anybody bothering me. It's like dark and it's quiet, and I just feel good. My husband is currently injured. His leg don't really work right now. So the chair that I'm sitting on right now is a chair that he uses to move around, because he can't walk on his foot. So he's been going back and forth the bathroom and the kitchen to get me like water and to like do all kind of things, and he's rolling back and forth with the chair, so it's been making a lot of noise. So because he's rolling back and forth and making all this noise, he woke up my mom, who was on the other side of the house. So now my mom is awake, and she came into the bedroom as if like something happening, like what's going on, because I just hearing the like you rolling back and forth in a chair, and I also saw the light on, and normally I never see the light on like at this time of night, so I just knew something was going on. I think my daughter woke up, so now it's my mom, my daughter, Eddie, and me in the bathroom. At this point it's like 3 something, and I had just came out the shower, and I'm just like going back and forth with pooping and just going through the contractions. And from there I went into my bedroom, and from 3 to 4 I was going through contractions on the side of the bed. I was literally kneeling down on the floor, and I was just breathing through the contractions like normal. So between 3 to 4 is when I told Eddie, like, I think you should call somebody. Just call a midwife and let them know what's going on. Let them know that we just came out the shower and I'm basically still going through the contractions. So they ended up calling my birth assistant as well as the midwife. I think the birth assistant ended up showing up at like 5:15, 5:30 or something like that. And what's crazy is right when she pulled up, I had like one hard contraction. She immediately just came behind me and started like pushing my pelvis together and just like rubbing my lower back and all kind of stuff. And I'm sitting here, I'm like, so if you don't know, neither of my births I've ever had like a doula. I've never had somebody there to support me when it comes to like my physical like body to help me like manage my pain. Yes, I had Eddie there, but Eddie is not really a doula, and I felt like I don't need a doula. I don't need nobody there because my husband is there to support me. I've had so many people leave so many positive comments talking about like Eddie is literally the best doula because he was there to be so supportive. And I literally thought the same thing until the doula came or the birth assistant came and she started to push my pelvis when I was in the middle of a contraction or to like basically help me. And I was like, this is literally the best thing ever. So first thing first, like if you could get a doula, I recommend you getting one because they, or at least mine, she helped me so much when it came to like going through the contractions. Yeah, it still hurt, but it was so much more manageable having her there. And one of the other things that I did for this birth that I did for my last one, I printed out a lot of my birth affirmations. So I had affirmations literally around the bathroom. I had affirmations all around the bedroom. And she was so intentional with what she was doing. Like she was around me. And as she was like helping me go through the contractions, she was reading my affirmations to me. So even if I had any doubt in my mind that I couldn't do it, she was there like, you're enough. You're a birth goddess. You are powerful. Like she was literally reading all of my my affirmations to me. And I was like, yeah, bitch, I am all of these things. I can do all of these things. So that was amazing. So like I said, from 3 to 4 and from 4 to 5, I was on the floor by my bed going through contractions. Then my midwife showed up almost at 6 o'clock. It was probably like 5:50 something when the midwife showed up. And immediately when she showed up, she decided to check me. And that was one of my concerns. I was like, please don't come here and tell me that I'm like 4 centimeters dilated. Like, I don't want to hear none of that, okay? I want to hear that I'm ready to go. So when she came at like 5 something, she checked me. And at this point, I'm on the bed because that's where I knew that I wanted to give birth. Like, I was gonna push this baby out on this bed. And she checked me, and then the first thing she was like, I'm complete. I didn't know what that meant until the birth assistant told me. She's like, did you hear what she said? And I'm like, no, what did she say? She's like, you're complete. That means you're 10 centimeters. I was like, bitch. After she told me I was complete, she was feeling a little bit more. She's like, don't move yet. I just want to figure out where the baby's head is positioning. And one of her concerns, she was like, I can't really feel the head because all I feel is bag. And she was like, I don't want to bust the bag. And what's crazy is as soon as she says, I don't want to bust the bag, the word bag didn't even properly come out until my bag broke. Like she accidentally broke my my water bag while she was checking to find the positioning of the head. As soon as my water break, I feel way more pain. I was like, oh my gosh, I just felt so much liquid gush out of me. The contractions started to get a lot more intense. So that's like the baby head is literally right there ready to come out. As I'm laying there on my back, one of the things that I specifically wrote out on my birth plan was I didn't want to give birth on my back. So that is something that my husband like remembered. So while I was laying down after my water broke and I'm like going through this major contraction, Eddie was like, can we try to get her up so she can get into a different position? Because I just broke my lock in the middle of me talking. So anyway, he was like, can we get her into a different position because I know she doesn't want to give birth like that. They tried to get me up so I can get on all fours, which was literally one of the hardest things I've ever done because my body was so weak and I couldn't even move my legs properly. So they had to like all work together to try to get me up. So I'm literally on all fours facing my headboard and my butt is like facing everybody else. So everybody behind me. So you have my midwife on one side, the birth assistant on the other side of me. Eddie is at the end of the bed looking at my butt. The kids are literally right there looking at my butt. My mom is there too. My grandma was there as well, but my grandma basically stayed outside of the room and praying. Basically, she did not want to be anywhere close to that because she just was praying for me to have a safe delivery. So she was nervous as hell. And the whole time I started feeling like I needed to push. And so said, so done. I started pushing and my baby girl came out. I feel like I am telling this story and I was just trying to find filler information, but this was literally such a smooth process and it was just such an easy labor in a sense that I felt so confident and I felt so like in control of my body. And I don't know if it came because this is my third labor or if it's because I had such like good supportive people around me that basically listened to the things that I wanted. I made sure I told my midwife before I even went into labor that like I don't want to have so many cervical checks. I want to make sure that like you're empowering me and you're making me feel as if like I can do this. And that's all she was doing. Like at one point I had a contraction and I was like screaming. She's like, no, breathe with your baby. Breathe your baby down. Down and out. Down and out. And as soon as I heard that, like I went from to like like just breathing everything out. And it was just like I just felt so empowered. And that's really all that happened. Apparently my mom said that when I had the baby, my son ran out to the living room and dropped to his knees and was like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited. My sister is finally here. And one of the things that I didn't get, because I really wanted my kids to be present for the birth, but I didn't get any footage of them experiencing the birth. The camera was basically focused on me the entire time. So if you were to see my birth video, which is going to be up soon on my Patreon, if you were to see my birth video, you'll notice that majority of the footage is literally just me in labor. So you don't really get to see my kids and the reaction and how they were. But just know that they were in awe just as much as I was. That's really my birth story, man. It was 5.5 hours. It was just smooth, man. Like having a home birth is such a beautiful experience because like I didn't have to leave the house. Like that's one of the beautiful benefits of doing that. Like after I had the baby, I literally just stayed in place and continued on with my day. My midwife ended up taking me to the bathroom and she gave me a bath. I was like, I've never got this kind of treatment before. So we did that and then they stayed there for about 4 hours. My mom made us breakfast. There was so much intention that was put into this birth that like there's nothing that I can say went in a different way than I imagined. Like I imagined myself looking at my affirmations when I was in the shower. I did just that. I imagined myself wearing my yellow dress, which was all about confidence. I knew that I wanted my kids to be there to watch everything. They were right there when they saw it. But I imagined myself on all fours in that same position having the baby. That happened. I imagined myself having the midwife come and not having to do much. As soon as she came, the baby came like 20 minutes later. I had on my birth plan that I didn't want anybody to be contacted for the first 4 hours. So nobody knew that I had the baby until like later on in the day when I allowed people to like make phone calls and stuff. Like that was beautiful. It was just the most beautiful experience. That's all I have to say. Like the birth was everything that I dreamed of and it was my last experience. Like I already said, this is my last kid. I know I said this last time, but I got pregnant again. But I think that I am serious now that I don't need any more kids after this. So this was a really great third time is a charm birth experience. And I think that I finished taking out all of the locks. Oh, I know this is supposed to be a birth story, but like the afterbirth contractions, whew. If you are watching this and you are pregnant and you have one child already, or if this might be your first one, just don't be surprised that you might experience afterbirth contractions, which is something that they don't tell you, or you might be surprised about. I didn't have any afterbirth contractions at all with my first child. And I experienced it for the first time as soon as I had my daughter the second time. Like as soon as I pushed her out, my midwife was like, you might be having some contractions afterwards. And she told me like at that moment. And then for 4 days afterwards, I was still feeling contractions. And I'm like, why the F does this feel like I'm still in labor? It was so bad. So when I had my daughter the third time, I was like, I knew that I'm going to have this afterbirth contraction. So I was mentally prepared. Ain't nothing like going through a situation when you're not mentally prepared. And I think when you allow fear to seep into any of your experiences, that's when you don't feel like you're in control. Having the understanding that these are the things that could happen helps to ease your mind, and it helps to bring you some kind of peace to know like, okay, I'm preparing myself a little bit more. Because birth at the end of the day is really mental, and you can literally make or break your experiences based on your thoughts. So knowing that I was going to have these afterbirth contractions, I'm like, okay, what do I need to take? What do I need to get to prepare myself to go through them? Yeah, they were still bad, but I knew that I was going to experience it. So it made it a lot more manageable when they actually came. So same thing with like labor, knowing what the contractions felt like, knowing what to look for, like when my mucus plug came out, knowing that like this is what it looks like, this is what it's gonna feel like. It helped me to be so much more prepared to not feel like scared or try to feel like I can change anything about it. I just had to go with the flow and let everything happen the way that it's supposed to happen. Like I trusted my body, and I knew that like when I work with my baby, it's going to give you such a better experience than trying to like fight against the feeling. It was just so amazing, and that's all I really have to say. So if you're a new mom and you're expecting, I just want you to know that like you can really do hard things. Our bodies are made for this. All you have to do is trust yourself and make sure that the people that are around you are supportive of like your decisions and your choices, because the more people that you have around you that don't support it, the harder it can be to have the birth that you want or the birth that you desire. Just make sure that you stand firm on what you want and have people around you to advocate, or have people around you to support your choices, because your support system is so important when you're going through such tender and emotional and just such a transitional period in your life. So I'm just grateful that I had these people around me, and it was very intentional, and I was able to get the birth that I desired, the birth that I dreamed of. And it was completely different than my first two experiences. And my first two experiences were great, and great in their own way, but I feel like this one I had so much more control and so much more intention with it. I feel like I am a birthing goddess. Giving birth is my superpower, and yeah, I did it 3 times and I'm good. I don't need to do it again. If y'all have any questions, if you have anything that you want to share or ask, hit me up. I'm always an open book. You can always find me, follow me here on YouTube. You can find me on Instagram on Taasha Reneé. If you want to check out any of my exclusive content, I do have a Patreon, which is patreon.com/avulnerablemom, and I share a lot of exclusive content on there. I have my birth video on there. You can get in touch with me on my close friends on Instagram. I leave all the information below on how you can get in contact with me, because I feel like together we can do more, and really and truly, like, nobody's supposed to be doing any of this alone. I hope you guys found this video enjoyable, listening to my birth story, and I hope it gave you guys some confidence to be able to like be in control with like the way that your story goes. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. And yeah, my curls are out. I know soon and very soon it's probably gonna drop, but I've had this in for a whole 6 weeks. I know it needs to wash. I'm not gonna wash it just yet, but I just know I needed to take it down because it's been in there for a while. So this is my style. This is my hair for the next probably 2 or 3 weeks before I decide to get a new style. So anyways, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.